The fall of the Peacock Throne, the birth of British India. Long ago, the province of Bengal was the brightest jewel in the crown of the Mughal Empire. It was a land of flowing rivers and golden harvests. The Nawaab, Alivardi Khan, ruled with a firm hand and a wise heart. He kept the European traders, who came for silk and spices, strictly under his control. He often warned his grandson that these foreign merchants were like bees. They could provide honey, but if provoked, they could sting like hornets. When Alivardi Khan passed away, his grandson, Siraj-ud-Dawla, became the Nawaab. He was young, fiery, and deeply suspicious of the British East India Company. He watched as they built massive walls around their trade posts without his permission. Siraj-ud-Dawla demanded they stop, but the British ignored him. The tension between the young ruler and the ambitious company grew until the air itself felt heavy with the coming storm. Seeing an opportunity to seize power, a British officer named Robert Clive began to plot. He knew he couldn't defeat the Nawab's massive army through strength alone. He turned to the shadows and found a traitor. Mir Jafar, the Nawab's own commander-in-chief, was promised the throne if he helped the British. In secret corners of the palace, the two men made a deal that would change the course of history forever. In 1757, the two armies met at Plassey. Siraj-ud-Dawla had 50,000 soldiers, while Clive had only 3,000. But nature intervened. A sudden, heavy monsoon rain drenched the battlefield. The Nawab's gunpowder was soaked and became useless mud. Siraj-ud-Dawla watched in horror as his cannons fell silent, while the British, who had kept their gunpowder dry under tarpaulins, prepared their counterattack. As the battle raged, Siraj-ud-Dawla called upon Mir Jafar to charge. But Mir Jafar stood still. He watched the fighting with cold eyes, his large division of the army remaining motionless. The Nawab realized too late that he had been betrayed from within. With his commanders refusing to fight and the British guns roaring, Siraj-ud-Dawla was forced to flee, and his reign and the independence of Bengal collapsed. After the victory, Robert Clive led Mir Jafar to the throne. But the crown was heavy, and the price was high. Mir Jafar discovered he was a puppet Nawab, a ruler with a title but no real power. The British East India Company demanded massive payments of gold and silver, draining the treasury of Bengal until the land that was once the richest in India began to wither. The British soon grew tired of Mir Jafar and replaced him with his son-in-law, Mir Qasim. However, Mir Qasim was not content to be a puppet. He was an able administrator who wanted to restore the glory of Bengal. He moved his capital away from the British and began training a new army. He saw how the British traders were cheating the local merchants and decided to stand up for his people. Mir Qasim knew he could not fight the British alone. He traveled to meet Shuja-ud-Dawla, the powerful Nawab of Awadh. Under the shade of a grand tent, the two rulers discussed the threat of the foreign company. Shuja-ud-Dawla agreed that the British had become too powerful and promised his fierce warriors to the cause of driving them out of the land. The alliance grew even stronger when they were joined by the Mughal emperor himself, Shah Alam II. Mir Qasim bowed before the emperor, pleading for him to lead the coalition. The emperor, hoping to reclaim the lost prestige of the Peacock Throne, gave his blessing. Together, these three leaders formed a great coalition, a final hope to unite the fragmented powers of India against the rising tide of British influence. In 1764, at a place called Buxar, the fate of India was decided. The Indian coalition brought a massive force, but they faced a highly disciplined British army led by Major Hector Munro. Munro was a strict leader who believed in modern tactics and iron discipline. As the sun rose over the fields, the roar of British cannons began to tear through the ranks of the coalition's brave but uncoordinated soldiers. The Battle of Buxar was a crushing blow. Despite their numbers, the coalition forces were scattered by the superior firepower and coordination of the British. Mir Qasim was forced into hiding, while Shuja-ud-Dawla and the emperor were left with no choice but to negotiate. The dream of a united Indian resistance had shattered on the fields of Buxar, leaving the road to Delhi open to the British. In 1765, the Treaty of Allahabad was signed. Emperor Shah Alam II granted the Diwani rights to the East India Company, giving them the legal power to collect taxes across Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. With the stroke of a pen, a group of foreign merchants had become the masters of the land. The sun had set on the era of the Nawaabs, and the long, dramatic history of British rule in India had truly begun.